We have plenty to talk about today. Blue Protocol's delay, Gran Saga's global confirmation, Aion Classic is finally coming to EU, and several other brand new MMOs have all been announced. It is a very busy week, so I hope you're sitting down. Before we jump in though, allow me to take a moment here to thank today's sponsor, Dead Side Club. Dead Side Club is a brand new upcoming online side-scrolling battle game that provides players some crazy, absolutely chaotic fun. If this looks like something that you'd be interested in, I urge you to go ahead, click that link in the description in the pinned comment below to wishlist the game. It's really that simple, and given the game is completely free to play, I would be doing you all a disservice, not at least letting you know that you can. In this epic fantasy, players will be able to join a cartel, use a variety of different abilities and special weapon types, tackle competitive dungeons, towers, raids, and rifts, rewarding you with some sick equipment and more than that, unique costumes, like the dinosaur and Daft helmet. Now, if that doesn't interest you, you're also capable of creating your own maps utilizing God mode. Yeah, you can become a literal god, giving players the opportunity to create the monsters, the encounters, and even the rewards. So, things will never grow stagnant, things will never get old. Given Dead Side Club is 100% free to play and supports 12 different languages, this should be on every action lover's radar. Again, all you need to do is click that link below to wishlist the game. You're not going to want to miss out on this one. Now let's go ahead here and jump into this week's weekly bite of MMORPG news. Let's kickstart this off with some of the best news of the last month. Npixel, the studio behind the gorgeous Gran Saga MMORPG, confirmed that not only are they releasing a Gran Saga spin-off, that admittedly doesn't look very good and I'd completely avoid if I were you, but they are also planning a full global release later this year. Of this Gran Saga, not the spin-off. The founder himself actually came out onto Twitter and made the following statement. The global version of Gran Saga is being prepared. It will come out after many parts have been fixed in the current service version. It will be released when kindness, convenience, and content quality are maximized. Everything will be reflected in the Korean and Japanese version, which means that the studio is aware that their game is incomplete and would be received rather poorly in its current form by Western players. It's refreshing, personally, seeing studios and studio heads admitting their game needs improvement before releasing a half-assed product to us. Top-down isometric MMOs are not very common. Off the top of my head, Lost Ark is the only title that even comes to mind. Path of Exile is a multiplayer game, not an MMO. Same with Diablo, which is why I was surprised when Nexon announced Nightwalker, a new top-down isometric MMO. Nexon haven't really revealed anything about the game thus far, but looking at the official channel, you'll find some class gameplay trailers showcasing some pretty incredible looking gameplay. There is no release date currently, but if you're a fan of Lost Ark, it might be worth keeping an eye on this one. But at the same time, this is also Nexon, so yeah. QUINFALL is another brand new MMORPG that began development in January 2021 and has a confirmed release date slated for this year, 2023. Admittedly, the trailer for the game wasn't bad. It detailed a lot of their vision, but at the same time also showed that a lot of the game utilized Unity store assets. But should we hold the inclusion and use of store assets against them? Maybe they're just temporary. Maybe they have plans on replacing them after release. Store assets are, after all, there to be used. My only concern is that they plan on releasing an MMO after a little over 2 years. Even games like Blue Protocol and Ashes of Creation have been in development for over 5, and they have very competent teams working on them. I'm sure you all recall NCSoft's release of Aion Classic back in 2021. It had gargantuan interest and has continued to be more successful for the company than the current live iteration of the game. Even despite its monetization, the exploits that were prevalent, and the long queue times. Wanting to capitalize on the success of this, NCSoft announced that they are working with Gameforge, who publishes Aion currently within Europe, to release Aion Classic for European players. The release of which is currently unconfirmed, yet alluded to be in early 2023. This is fantastic news for players wanting to return to the early days of the game when it was arguably much better than it is now. Then we have Soulinverse, Lion Games, the studio behind the once popular Soulworker MMO, have decided that instead of improving Soulworker, they would rather take an easier route and make an entirely new video game, which honestly is not a bad idea. If you lack the talent to actually comprehend and repair what is broken, it might just be best to scrap it and start over anew. Soulinverse is that very project, a match 3 puzzle RPG coming exclusively to mobile devices, because they've learned that they just do not have it in them to attempt another PC game after destroying Soulworker. Mobile games and mobile gamers are significantly more forgiving after all. Soulinverse will feature a lot of new characters, while bringing back a lot of older characters as well. And if I'm being honest, they all look a lot older than I recall. I feel like PALIA was announced, released a sick gameplay trailer, and then pretty much just vanished from the public eye almost as rapidly as it emerged. Which isn't to say that the development isn't still active and ongoing, or that they're not still addressing concerns or remaining in contact with their players. A lot of it is just done via Discord now, with little bits here and there via Twitter. The most recent update being how they plan on having the NPCs of the game possess more personality and have social entanglements with players, explaining that NPCs will have relationships and romances available for players to even go as far as wooing some of them. Their words, not mine. Yeah, you heard that 100% correctly. You're going to be capable of wooing some characters in PALIA. This is some next generation content right here, and I am all for it. Guild Wars 2 has been the talk of the town over the last few months, mostly due to the fact that End of Dragons has been an incredibly well-received breath of fresh air for the game, which is seen by its revenue boosting all of NCSoft's PC division and literally carrying the entire PC division on its back, almost out-earning the entire Lineage franchise in its last quarter. And while that alone is definitely cause for celebration, ArenaNet confirmed via blog post on the 13th that they are altering how they plan on releasing footage moving into the future. We can all agree that over the last several years, one area Guild Wars 2 has failed in was its content cadence. Regular content releases were so infrequent that players were left with little to do, which is changing this year, as the studio confirmed instead of releasing a new expansion every 2 to 4 years with a season of Living World between expansions, they'll be releasing smaller scale expansions more frequently at a slightly reduced price. They'll also push out quarterly updates, much more closely resembling the model that Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft utilize. This is a massive win for Guild Wars 2. NCSoft confirmed last month that they were laying off a large number of staff from their Western departments, located within North America specifically, largely impacting the current and future development of North American titles and subsequently localization, despite their claims to the contrary. In spite of this, NCSoft have confirmed that Throne and Liberty would be entering its final round of beta testing within Korea this month, reiterating to players that the game was still on schedule to release globally within the first half of 2023. I'm genuinely curious what their plans are in terms of publishing the game though, as it's a guarantee at this juncture that they won't be doing it themselves since they literally just terminated most of their Western employees, right? Last we heard, Amazon Game Studios was in the running for publisher, much like they are in Blue Protocol. Speaking of Blue Protocol, last month when Blue Protocol was scheduled to enter its final beta test within Japan, Bandai Namco confirmed last minute that the beta test had to be delayed temporarily. This was due to an issue that was too large to overlook and would impact the beta test overall. Towards the end of January, Bamco confirmed that the beta test would be delayed until roughly around the end of March 2023. That's a whole 2 months. But let's be honest, if it's an issue of that magnitude, it's a good thing that it was delayed. First impressions are very important and many new players are going to be trying it this time around. Bamco have confirmed that they'll have additional information sometime towards the end of February, so be on the lookout for an update video from me around then. Additionally, it is unconfirmed if this will have any kind of direct impact on the global beta test or the global release date, which is still confirmed to be in the second half of 2023. We can only hope not. And that's it. That is all of the MMO news that mattered to me today. If you think that I missed something, please let me know down in the comment section below and I will do my best to take a look at it. Until then, I got you covered with 2 videos that you definitely need to check out. One featuring every single MMORPG releasing this month in February 2023. The other, well, go ahead, click it and check it out for yourself.